Welcome. This is the Drupal usability meeting for November 8th, 2024. I'm Benji Fisher moderating, and also here are Ralph Kohler sharing their screen and Simo Hilston. Go ahead, Ralph.
Thanks, Benji. We are looking at issue number 3469116. Logout confirmation form shows inappropriate confirmation description. I'm currently, I've already shared the link to my local installation. I can quickly demonstrate the current state. If you go to user logout, you get to the following confirmation form. Are you sure you want to log out? This action cannot be undone. And as you can see here, and I can also switch to the branch now, git checkout, rush CR, rush update DB. If we go again, it got changed. Are you sure you want to log out? You will need to log in again to access your account.
Okay, that
So that
seems like a pretty clear description of the change. And as we were discussing a few minutes ago, this is a fairly recent change to Drupal 10.3 and 11 that we even have that confirmation page. And I'm sorry, Ralph, did you remember to read the issue number for the sake of the recording?
yes, I did.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted, I guess. Simo, any questions?
No, seems very straightforward.
Okay, so initial thoughts? So Ralph, could you open up the recently fixed issue that created this
Yep,
confirmation form?
that's issue number. Yep, it is 144538. User logout is vulnerable to CSRF.
And wow, that was created in 2007.
Yep.
Um, and it does look as though the issue summary has been updated. It shows the Olivero theme.
Yep.
The screenshot there doesn't show any descriptive text.
Yep.
And my first thought is, as always, less is more. Why do we need anything more than what the screenshot shows in that initial issue? And at what point did that change?
That's a good question. That issue got created in after that issue got fixed. The issue got fixed on the 6th of August this year, and that issue got created, 14 days later. So I wonder the before state, how, because the before state technically would be without that description even. Or that screenshot is outdated and incorrect.
So I'm just scrolling on the issue, and I don't see any screenshots describing
On
the
the,
difference.
on the old one
Yeah,
or on the,
the one that's been fixed.
oh, okay.
So the current issue says to change it, right?
Yeah, but if you take a look on the current issue in comment number 3, uh, there is no description at all in the first screenshot.
Okay. So comment 3 is basically saying what I'm saying, that we don't need any text. I'm still not sure when that text was added. Comment 7, in the original issue also the description is not shown.
One second, I just. Apologies for this fast scrolling.
Comment 8. Comment 8, if I read that correctly, suggests that the confirmation form requires some sort of string.
Oh, okay. Oh. But I wonder how was the test working at all then on the old issue? If that doesn't have had a description.
Well, apparently the old issue did add the description.
It did?
The, well, some issue did. When we load that page now, we see the description. Um, if it wasn't added in the old issue, it was added somewhere else. It just wasn't discussed on the old issue. Or the text that's currently there is default text, isn't it? I think a confirmation form um, frequently has that message, this action cannot be undone. So I assume that's a default somewhere. And if you don't do anything, then you get that. So that might also be another recent change that so that seems like a technical issue that maybe um, isn't worth figuring out during the meeting.
Yep.
Um, so I'm actually kind of curious. So I'll volunteer to look into the technical issue here. Um, and we can either discuss it further next week or in Slack. And I want to identify why the why we now see the default message when we didn't see it in the screenshot when the confirmation page was first added.
Yep.
So, um, so let, let's at least think now, if it is technically feasible, um, do we want to recommend no text at all? I'm getting a thumbs up from Simo. Um,
Yeah.
that's certainly my position. Okay, so this is a technical question. The usability recommendation is to have no text there, and the question is if there's some technical reason that actually requires text there. Um, Go ahead, Ralph.
But just one, it's a bit out of scope for this issue. As I've already signified with my thumbs up, I'm also in line removing the description, but a more general pet peeve I have is basically using such a question as the H1 on confirmation forms. Are you sure you want to log out? That is something I would expect in the description, and to make the title different. Not sure what the best pattern would be, but it feels like that's such a direct addressing of the user as the H1 or the page title feels a bit off and odd compared to the rest of the titles used across the admin UI.
That's an interesting suggestion, and of course, much bigger scope than
Yeah,
the issue we started with. Um, so you'd suggest something like the title of the page would be log out,
for
or
example, yeah.
or maybe some indication that it's a confirmation form.
Yeah, that
Confirm,
also.
confirm log out.
Yeah,
And then the description text would be what's currently the title.
yeah.
Huh. That, I wonder. It is unusual to have long text like this as the page title. On the other hand, the confirmation form is intentionally a very simple page. Like there's no real body text, just title, description, and two buttons. So being an unusual page, maybe it's okay to have an unusual pattern. Simo, do you have an opinion on this?
Well, I think I'd like to see that as a kind of a modal, not as a separate page loading, because if somebody is not intending to log out, then it might be something that it feels a little bit strange to navigate away from the page anyway.
Okay, so that's yet another uh, suggestion with a very broad scope that confirmation forms should always be modals, or am I saying more than you intended?
Uh, I think for most part, I'm not sure if something that has a list of confirmed items to be confirmed, I'm not sure if that is best as modal, but at least this kind of a simple thing that's not related to content, but to the status of the user.
So let's see. Ralph, can you cancel this action?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to illustrate something. So yeah, if you click on the logout link, what happens?
you log out straight away.
Right. So in the normal course of events, that is the way you would log out, and you would never see the confirmation form. So um, it's sort of an edge case to be seeing that form in the first place. So, but yes, if you do come upon the page, then
But just not in the context of that logout confirmation form, but in the context of layout builder, you have also such confirmation form if you want to delete something there, for example. If you have, for example, on a content type, manage fields, manage display, layout builder. Guess that. There.
or if you delete a field from a content type, you also get a confirmation form, right? And that's in a modal.
That's in a modal, but in the context of layout builder, there it is not. But yeah, again, there it's the same pattern with the title and the
Yes.
direct addressing that I'm not sure I really like. But I like definitely having a consistent pattern, that the idea CMU raised, moving confirmation forms consistently into modals. That is something I definitely like.
And this, by the way, illustrates that the pattern I described isn't always true. This confirmation form does have a body.
Yep.
In which case we have these, do you want to move away from this edit page warnings? That's not in core, is it?
I'm sorry, what's Ralph, can you bring up that confirmation form again?
Oops, that was the wrong one.
So, Simo, what were you asking about?
Sometimes there is on edit forms, we have these warnings that if you navigate away from this page, you will lose the changes. But I was thinking is if we have that in core or not, maybe not.
Oh, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, if you start typing something in here and then navigate away from this page, I believe that's a contrib module that provides that. It's not in core. And that's some sort of JavaScript that interrupts moving away from the page. Okay, so for the original issue, I'm still volunteering to look into the technical aspects. Do you want to continue discussing these general questions about confirmation forms? Whether we should continue to use these very long H1s and whether we should consistently put them in modals? Um, or or would you like to move to a different issue?
I think a different issue. We're not going to get very far if we want to have everything in models that should be in models, because we can't do that.
Ralph, do you want to bring up that other issue?
That's issue number, for the record, 1473760. Use data to check dash star to check module dependencies before submit.
And this is another old issue.
Yeah. And just as a disclaimer, as noted before, there hasn't been any movement in a while since 2015. And the question quite one raised is basically, yeah, if it's a good idea to remove that confirmation step or not. So it's about should that issue be closed or if actual work should happen.
All right. So let's see, what exactly is this suggesting?
That one here. When checking to enable a module, there is a JavaScript check on dependencies and check all unchecked dependencies, hence and avoiding the confirmation step.
So I think I know how to illustrate this. So you've installed the standard profile?
Yeah. Shall I stop and you share or should I simply go to the Umami one?
No, I can share, or we can work with yours. Actually the standard install is more convenient. What I want to do now is enable the content moderation module and
Okay.
submit the
Simply
form.
submit.
Yep. So this is the confirmation step that they're talking about.
So basically that in that case, the workflows module would be auto-checked and automatically installed alongside content moderation.
That's right.
Okay.
Which is the way it works if you use Drush to install a module from the command line. If you have the standard installation, standard profile, or now the standard recipe, and you want to enable content moderation, then it automatically enables the workflows module as well. So basically, this issue is suggesting that we automatically enable, in this case, content moderation, rather than asking for confirmation.
Shall I continue?
Sure.
I just wanted to. Okay. Then I would have one problem with that approach and one question.
Go ahead.
As you can see here, I did the confirmation, and let's assume that confirmation step would be removed with that issue. And I'm a novice user. I have no idea about Drupal. I have no idea about dependencies, and I'm installing now content moderation as you described. All of this, I wouldn't notice that basically workflows is getting installed alongside. And I just content. Oh.
That's better.
Oh, it's, yeah.
I was wondering why you didn't get that status message.
Exactly. And was a reason. Okay, now, okay, my worry is gone because I was not sure if it is shown, but now maybe the thing I would change is I would differentiate between the modules I've chosen and the modules that got automatically installed alongside in that status message. At the moment, it's just one long big blob. And let's take, for example, you not only choose content moderation, but 3, 4 other modules. And then you get basically the dependencies as well, and you get just one blob. And if you would have basically the list of modules in one place that you deliberately installed and a second list separate added separately underneath. Um, so it's just signified in a certain way that is what is automatically added and what is deliberately added. And the question in addition to that, I would have, is there any downside? I'm not sure if there's some scenario where it would be a bad thing that something gets automatically installed that would be difficult to roll back.
So what the one thing that is possible to undo but difficult to undo is if you have deeply nested dependencies. So if you want to install module A, but it depends on B and B depends on C and C depends on D, and you say, oh no, I didn't want to install module D. Once they're all installed, you have to go to the uninstall page and first uninstall module A, reload, uninstall module B, reload, uninstall module
Yeah.
C, reload, and then you can uninstall module D. You can't do them all in one step. Now, I'm pretty sure we have an open issue to change that.
Yeah, we have.
Um, I'm thinking if we agree that this issue is a good idea, perhaps we should postpone it on that other issue.
1 second, I
I'm
can
thinking
quickly.
that sometimes there might be some conflicting modules. So two modules doing the same thing. And if somebody is trying to add another module, so maybe we're talking probably about contrib modules, something they don't know so well. And there is using maybe different kind of login, different kind of authentication, different kind of something that is required by the module. And that might cause conflict with some other code. So yeah, I think there might be something sometimes where it's good to have this confirmation, or at least some way to show that it's. I think the confirmation is a good way to show to make sure the user reads the dependencies. They are listed there on the file and on the project page maybe, but it's a good confirmation to have, because sometimes there might be some things that would cause some dependencies that might cause issues with the site, and then the user needs to decide not to enable the module at all if it's a dependency. A little bit difficult explanation.
So Ralph found the issue I was thinking of. Yeah, so Simo, you're suggesting that in the sort of vague description I gave with A, B, C, D, that module that I don't want installed, the reason I don't want it installed is that I already have another module that basically duplicates the functionality of D, and I chose that one instead of D. So Ralph, for the sake of the recording, this is 3374766. allow uninstalling modules and the modules which are dependent in the same action.
Yep.
So Simo, you're suggesting that the issue we started with, we don't fix, that the confirmation form is a good safeguard. Sure, it adds some friction. It's an extra step when installing modules, but it's a confirmation that's very useful.
Yes.
So any other arguments pro or con? Your, Ralph gives a thumbs up. And of course,
It's also possible to add that confirmation form serves as educating the user, so increasing knowledge of how the system works, therefore preventing maybe some mistakes in other places.
Furthermore, installing modules isn't something you do every day, right? It's not like editing content where you're editing. On some sites are very busy and they'll have many people editing content all the time. But you don't have any sites where there are lots of people enabling and disabling modules on a daily basis. Um, and although there was a fair amount of comments on this when it was first introduced between 2012 and 2015, 24 comments in th about 3 years. There was then this long period of inactivity with just a few comments, which suggests that no one desperately wants this issue. Otherwise, they wouldn't have left it alone for so long. Um, yeah, I'm leaning towards won't fix.
Yeah, and also maybe users who benefit from this benefit from moving to project browser.
That's also a good point. Um, yeah, so something that's not really our job to consider, but the release manager's job to consider is anytime you work on an issue, you're adding more code to add a new feature. And, you know, is it worth making Drupal a little bit more complicated to add this feature? Um, and in this case, probably not. Okay, so who wants to write the comment and close the issue? And should we close it right away, or should we leave it open for a couple of weeks to give people a chance to uh, provide counter arguments?
I think just commenting for the time being might be the better choice. And just to provide the feedback that was requested instead of immediately close it down.
Yes, read that comment 35. Whoops.
35.
Hesitating on closing this one. Is there really a UX benefit of doing this? So, so, so not already suggests that the same thing that we've been talking about.
And oh, and he was the issue creator. So yeah, if he is already in doubt, so but maybe we should leave it up to him to close it down, but just confirm his worry and his doubt.
Oh, let's just leave a comment and come back to it 2 weeks from now. And if there are no further comments, close the issue then. Um, we I think we can use the usability issue meeting to keep track of that and close it at the November 22nd meeting or at least look at it at the November 22nd meeting. See if there are any further comments. So who wants to leave the comment? Okay, I think I can do it. I'll do the follow-up for both of these issues.
Thank you. Was not keen because I have to still finish the other two.
Okay.
I wrote you before the meeting, so.
Go ahead.
Talking of the other meeting comment and something you've suggested before the meeting for the last 20 minutes, and I don't think it needs that much time, but just revisiting the strings for the issue, 1 second, 2983456, expose triggering update of media metadata and thumbnail to end users. If we could quickly revisit, because back then we had the consensus about adding 2 confirmation pages there for scenario. 1 second, I copy it out. And make it a bit bigger. And I've already added my suggestion there. We had the scenario B, the local source of media item is missing. And there we had the string, the source file of media item X is missing, unable to refresh. And we had the button remove thumbnail and cancel for remove thumbnail. When it's pressed on the next page, in the status message, it says thumbnail removed for media item X. But we had not had the time nor a idea or consensus in regards what to post in the status message when cancel is pressed. Same for scenario C, where the remote source for media item X is unavailable. And while writing up the comment, it feels like just unfinished and one missing bit. And I thought maybe something like that, because in one other scenario, we have basically already a consensus for the following sentence, which is nothing to update. Media item X remains unchanged. And in the context of the confirmation form, maybe apply a slightly modified variant of that and simply say cancelled, period. Media item X remains unchanged. That way the person knows in case that button was accidentally or in absence of a clear attention pressed, knows the button cancel was pressed, so the action was canceled, and that the media item remains unchanged. Any thoughts?
Okay, so first of all, can you share the link for that issue in the Zoom chat? And you have to give Simo and me a chance to remember the context
Yeah.
of this issue. So The
It was
issue,
basically on a media page, you get the operation of refresh a media item, and where basically, yeah, if something changed in the source file, or in particular for remote sources, like for example a YouTube link or a Vimeo link, and you press that refresh, then and that video, for example, got a new thumbnail or a new description, then that gets updated that way. And there were basically those edge cases in scenario B, where basically in the local source is missing. For example, like Simo's example, if that the folder that is containing all the media is mounted in a local for a site, or it is manually removed for whatever reason, then you get to that confirmation page where the confirmation page says the source file for media item X is missing, unable to refresh. And those two buttons, remove thumbnail and cancel. And the other option is basically, yeah, the remote media item source is unavailable for either the server is down or the media item got removed. And those are the two potential options. And there the confirmation, the text says the remote source for media item X is unavailable simply. And you have the retry and the cancel button.
yeah, okay, I think I'm sufficiently refreshed. Simbo, any questions?
No.
Okay, so now which of these bits of microcopy are you suggesting we change?
Not change, but add, because we haven't had a microcopy for that status message in case cancel is pressed. That is newly added. That was empty
Okay,
before. So it's basically simply about the status message when cancel is pressed in
okay.
each of the scenarios.
So we're looking at scenario B, so a local source. So it's not Vimeo or YouTube. This is an image media item where the source is local. And we're editing that media item and we want to refresh the thumbnail image. Um, and something goes wrong, we get a confirmation form. Um, the confirmation form has the two buttons. What is the text we get when we use one of these buttons? Either we've removed it or we cancel it. Yeah, I think when we talked about this issue before, I raised the issue that every so often people accidentally make a random click somewhere on the page and they're not quite sure what they've done. And that's why we have to have these some confirmation message. Um, that looks reasonable to me. I wonder whether we need the word canceled, but it's even with the word canceled, it's still a fairly short message.
Mm. The reason why I've added canceled is exactly the case if someone not deliberately or with a clear mind or am absent-minded clicked simply cancel and wasn't aware what was clicked. That way the person knows it was a deliberate decision happened before, that the process was canceled, and therefore in consequence the media items remains unchanged.
Okay. And it differentiates it from the
Nothing
case,
to update case.
right, where the thumbnail is the same as
Yeah,
what we currently have.
exactly. And that was the reasoning why I've added that cancelled bit here.
And then I guess the last line in the screen that you're showing us is also
Yeah, that is also, well, was empty before as well.
okay.
But I thought that could be the same simply cancelled media item remains unchanged. This could be used for both scenarios from my point of view.
Yeah, I think that works. Seema?
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
There are about 10 minutes left. I'm inclined just to end the meeting a little early today. What do you think?
Fine with me.
No problem.
Okay, well, thank you both. And I will leave comments on the first two issues we discussed and see you next week, I hope.
Yep, thank you. And I leave
Yeah.
comments on the other two. And yeah, have a nice weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
This weekend.
Bye.
Bye.